Hello and welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where it is another day and there is more Barca news for us to get through because we are going to be looking further into our FFP situation, and that comes after Lenglet's departure and also centres around Marc-Andre Ter Stegen and that salary situation. We're also going to be talking today about Joan Garcia, about his imminent arrival at the club, and we're also too going to be discussing Lamine Yamal and the criticism that he's suffering right now. It's all on the way. Get yourselves comfortable and let's do this. But I would like to kick off right here today, guys, with some really kind support coming in on the channel from Ryan on the super thanks. He says he's been watching since the Ronald Koeman days at Barca, and I really do appreciate here the very, very kind words and thank you for the help on the channel. And let's begin by talking about our old friend, and this will probably be the last time that we mention Clement Lenglet on the channel, but I want to talk more about this deal that has seen him go to Atleti, because what will it mean for the club from a financial point of view? Because look, there's been a reason why I've been so desperate to get rid of this man. You know, I've got nothing personal against him, but remember that he was on that outrageous Bartomeu issued contract, and we were talking here about one of the highest earners at the club. So what will removing all of that mean for us from an FFP point of view? Because Lenglet did have 2 years remaining on that contract, running there until 2026, and that meant that across those 2 years remaining, there would have been 32 million, yes, 32 million in gross salary that Barca would have needed to pay. It would have been 16 million a year. 16 million a year for Lenglet. It's outrageous. And at this stage, it is still unclear exactly how much of that remaining salary Lenglet has forgiven. Now, I say that in quotation marks right now. I'll explain that in a minute. But there are plenty of reports that say Lenglet has waived the whole lot, that he may have forgiven his entire salary from those remaining 2 years, meaning that Barca would have a massive saving. I mean, to remove that kind of salary off the wage bill, in terms of FFP, that would be huge. But what I want to explain on this is that it's actually very possible, in my opinion, that Lenglet has done that. But as much as it is a very nice gesture, and as much as we would be very thankful for that from him, it wouldn't just be with Barca in mind. You know, let's make that very clear here, because don't forget, Lenglet desperately wanted to join Atletico Madrid. More still, he wanted to join them now. He wanted to play there at the Club World Cup. So we had the advantage of that sense of urgency on Atleti's side and on Lenglet's side. They couldn't hang around. They couldn't negotiate. And what we've done here is we've given Atleti Lenglet. We have not asked for any transfer fee, because let's be honest, we could have asked for maybe a few million. You could have got a few million even for Clement Lenglet, but we gave him to Atleti for free. And why we did that is so that they can offer him a very good salary. They can give him a good contract, and in return now, he has been able to be in the position to waive all of that remaining salary. So I think what we've got here, it's a unique kind of deal, because in the end, I think it works out for everybody. Barca have got an enormous saving. Atleti have got this player here on a free transfer even before his contract expired. And Clement Lenglet, he has forgiven his remaining Barca salary, but he will still earn extremely good money at Atletico Madrid. Thank you and good luck. However, that does then bring us quite nicely on to Marc-Andre Ter Stegen, who we did mention yesterday. Look, his wages are going to be an issue. It's going to be a real problem for the club. And we have now heard some more pretty strong reports that suggest shifting him this summer, it's not going to be an easy task for Barca. This is going to be a really turbulent time. Because what we're hearing right now is that unlike Clement Lenglet, Marc-Andre Ter Stegen, if we want to get rid of him this summer, he will demand his entire salary. And we are talking here about a contract that runs right up until 2028. Meaning if we wanted to pay Ter Stegen off in full, it would be 42 million. Now, at this point, Barca apparently, they'd be willing to pay maximum 1 year. They'd give Ter Stegen 1 year of that salary and say, look, can we agree on that? Because can I just explain here, guys, this is not normal. This is not normal behaviour in terms of transfers, because obviously we hear cases like this so often now at Barca that maybe we've forgotten how transfers actually work. Because sure, in football you have contracts, you're entitled to that money, you signed the deal, the club signed off on it. If you stay at the club and see out that contract, you are entitled to it. I am not disputing that. But the way that normal transfers work is, if you go to another club though, if you leave Barca this summer, as Ter Stegen would, if he was to agree to leave, he'd then go and join somebody else. Now traditionally, you would then leave your old contract behind. In normal transfers, if you leave the club, nothing is owed. Nothing needs to be settled. Nothing carries over there. You simply pick up that new contract at your new club. That's your salary. And that is why, again, in this case, just like with Longley, Barca would let Ter Stegen leave for nothing, for free. So any club coming in, they'd be getting a player that, of course, he's worth more than nothing. You know, Ter Stegen, we might be criticising him right now, but he's worth more than nothing. You know, you could get several million for him, but again, we'd be willing to let him go for free so that the club coming in could pay him big money. He'd be signing another big contract, which is why right here, I would not pay Ter Stegen off. There is absolutely no chance this summer I'm going to him and saying, yeah, okay, you can have the full contract until 2028. We'll pay up all of that 42 million. We'll let you go for free. And then you can just sign somewhere else and they'll give you another bumper contract. That is not happening. And what is beautiful right now about Barca's situation is that it's not like in previous years, in my opinion, where our hands were completely tied. You know, there were times where we had to give in to these kind of demands in order to register somebody, in order to make a signing. We had to offload players. We are in a much better position now. And that means we don't have to bow down to players. Because quite frankly, I would say to Ter Stegen, if you don't want to go elsewhere, if you don't want to accept a move there in the normal way to another club, then fine. But you're not playing. And I'm not even going to say here, you're going to have to sit on the bench. Ter Stegen won't be on the bench. Wojciech Szczesny is the number 2. Joan Garcia will be the number 1. Ter Stegen won't even be on the bench. He'll be in the stands. Flick does not want him as part of this team, particularly after the attitude problems that we saw at the end of the season. So yeah, that is why I'd say to Ter Stegen, if you don't want to go, if you want your entire salary paid off before you walk into the sunset, then fine. Stay right here. Sit in the stands. Do not play, and good luck getting in Germany's World Cup team. Then though, guys, we do move on to the topic of Deco. And I think this is a really interesting question right now because I have received so many different questions about Deco saying, look, is he the right man for the job? Do we have confidence in him this summer? Do we believe that he can get the deals done that we need to in what is a vital transfer window? And in my opinion, you know, I keep saying this about Deco, it's a massive window for him. I think the pressure is on Deco here and that he actually needs to demonstrate that he is the man, that he can do this job. Because I think now he's been in the job a decent amount of time. I still feel as though he's got so much to prove. I don't think any of us have been left overly convinced by what we've seen from him so far. And I think the kind of reports that you hear in the media, they're not really helping with those feelings. They're not really helping with those sensations. I mean, even here today, we're hearing again, Barca and Deco only wants Luis Diaz, that no longer are they even considering Nico Williams. He is not on the agenda. It's all about Diaz. That is the road that we want to go down. We heard about Deco wanting to sell Christensen, even though Flick would be happy to keep him, and that Deco would rather bet on Araujo. And then recently as well, I saw him actually taking aim there, taking a few shots at Xavi Hernandez over the Vitor Roque deal, the fact that Roque arrived at the club early. And again, Deco there, he's taking shots at Xavi, but he's taking absolutely no responsibility for his part in that deal there, paying massive money for a player that, of course, in the end did not work out. So I think here with Deco, lots to prove this summer. A lot of people want to see him stand up, facilitate the wishes of Hansi Flick. You know, don't get too involved in your own ideas, in your own thoughts there, in your own directions. It's about the coach, it's about the club, it's about the vision that Flick has for his team. He knows what he's doing, and it's your job to make that happen. Now, of course, one of the deals that Deco has been working on, and the club are certainly trying to make happen, it is none other than Joan Garcia. Now, we were all told that today would be the day. But obviously, when you're dealing with Barca, and having been a Barca fan for many, many years, we all know when it's implied that this might be the day, that might go back a little bit. You know, we're not exactly that good here at sticking to timing, so we're going to have to wait and see whether it is all wrapped up by the end of the day. But right now, the feeling is the release clause might not be paid today. And lots has been happening, though, at the club here. We've seen Joan Garcia's lawyers at the Ciutat Esportiva today, and they're basically finalising that payment that's going to go to La Liga to activate the €25 million clause. Now, we also need La Liga's approval in all of this. I'm sure that's great fun to sort of thrash out with them. But I think the good news on Joan Garcia is that, again, let me just keep reiterating this. There is no doubt at all. We can pay the 25 million clause, there's no doubt there. And in terms of his salary, get this, guys, at Espanyol, Joan Garcia earned 300,000, not per week, not per month, but per season at the club. 300k there. He was actually one of the lowest earners at the club. And that's quite incredible, given that without him, Espanyol, last season, they'd have been relegated. No question about that. Without Joan Garcia, they would be playing in the second tier next season. But at Barca, Joan Garcia there will reportedly earn €3 million net. And that is unconfirmed right now. We don't know the exact figures, but it's reportedly 3 million net, which again, it's not a huge wage. So that is another thing here. Like we've spoken about here at Barca, our situation is better than it has been previously. This is a contract, this is a deal that we will be able to register without too many problems at all, and it is going to happen. It hasn't happened yet, I know, and that is frustrating. We are all waiting here every day, every hour. Is it going to happen? It will, but hasn't quite yet. But indeed, guys, in today's video too, though, I would just like to talk here about what we're seeing, a lot of it on social media now that's spreading to the television channels on Lamine Yamal after, of course, the Nations League final, where Spain did come up short against Portugal. And I would say that Yamal in particular, he looked quite jaded out there, he looked quite tired, and you know what? I can understand that. He's 17 years old, he has played an extraordinary amount of football, but, naturally here in modern football, it's pretty fashionable to just jump on the new guy, to just jump on the new exciting talent. And all that I would say right now is, after the season that he's had, to be in the running for the Ballon d'Or at 17 years old, if people are still finding fault, if people are still waiting for you to fail, waiting for you to have just one, sort of off game, that's when you know you're good. And he knows that he's good, by the way. He is absolutely aware of this. So I don't think all of the things that are being spoken about on social media, that's not going to get to him. And people like Guti, we did speak about it earlier on over on MORETALKFCB. If you want to have a look at that, go ahead. Him talking about him wearing a backwards hat in a press conference. I mean, people right now, they're looking for anything. And like I say, that's the sign that you're great. They are looking for any tiny detail to overanalyze, to really, really zone in on. And it's just not right here. Let's leave Yamal alone. Let's give him here the summer of rest that he needs. I'm so happy now that he can go off on holiday. Go and be a 17-year-old for a little bit. You've had such a demanding season here. It's been really hard, really tough, and he's been incredible, and he has really, really earned a summer of rest. So those there, guys, are the Barcelona headlines and all of the news that we have been hearing throughout the day. And I really do appreciate you here tuning in and getting involved with all of it. Thank you very much for the support here. And also, like I say, over on MORETALKFCB, let me know your thoughts on everything we have discussed in today's video. And of course, I will be seeing you all soon. But until next time, as always, Vejka! El Barça!